All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another interview here on Drip Talk with Blake Disney Roberts. I am here. I have a very special guest with me today. He is one half of the former WWE Tag Team, the Godwinns. He's also one half of former WWE Tag Team Southern Justice with Dennis Knight, also known as Midian, also known as Phineas I. Godwinn. He is formerly wrestled with the companies WCW, WWF, WWE, OVW, USWA, IWA, and much, much more. He is no other than Henry O. Godwinn, also known as Mark Canterbury. So we'll get him on in here, and then we will start with the interview. Hello.
What's up, buddy?
I'm doing. What's up with you?
Oh God, we're in the middle of getting all of our vegetables out. We just built a greenhouse, so that's why I've been so busy. And we got the BSK Organics page. You have to check it out. Start following us on BSK Organics.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out.
Yeah.
All right. So, also, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, hanging in there for an old man. Getting ready to go do the expo next weekend in Indianapolis. The big expo. I know Godfather, Ron Sim, the Nation of Domination will be there, so we'll all get to hang out.
Yep. That looks like a good show that they're going to be having there. So, yeah.
Yeah, then next week I'm going to drop, my buddy's taking me to the show I'm going to be signing up there at WrestleCon. And one day I'll be signing over at ECW Arena in Philly. And probably go check WrestleMania out one night.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So I'll ask you my first question. When did you start doing wrestling and what made you want to do it?
God, I've been a fan of wrestling since I was 4 or 5 years old. And then I wrestled in high school. I played 10 years of football all through school and wrestled 3 years in high school, played baseball for 9 years growing up. So the athletic part was always in me, but I always loved wrestling. So finally met a couple old timers, George South and Italian Stallion in Princeton, West Virginia, and then they started training me and started taking me to do TVs at Atlanta and WCW. And then I worked Eric Watts one night in Atlanta at Center Stage TV. I was like his first big match. He just graduated from Louisville. And of course, his dad, Cowboy Bill Watts, was running the helm at that time, and Dusty was right there. So had a hell of a little match with Eric on TV, and they come up to me after that and asked me if I would be interested in going on the road. And I said, yeah. And I said, when? And they said, tonight.
Oh, wow.
So Arn Anderson's giving me clothes. And so I work Eric for a week on the road in Texas. And that's how I got my big break. And then soon after that, Dusty said, well, we're going to put you in a hood. He said, I'll back up a little. Tex come up and we met, and that's how Tex in Shanghai started. And the reason I wore a mask is because Dusty said I had a baby face. I was too good looking, and Tex was ugly enough. He didn't need one.
Yeah, that's great. So
So that's how
when you watched, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying that. So that's how all that started.
Yeah. So when you were watching wrestling as a kid, who was your favorite wrestlers to watch?
Oh my God. Boogie Woogie Man. Of course, then you had Hillbilly Jim starting out. And I always liked to watch Dusty. Of course, Austin Idol back in the day. Gordon Soley announcing. So, going way back.
Hmm. Who would you say is a favorite wrestler now in the business?
Uh, Man, I would have said Wyndham, Bray Wyatt. Uh, I just thought he had such a good talent. And my son was they were in the wrestling school together in Tampa. And that's where I met him. Of course, I knew Mike and Barry real well because Barry Wyndham took us under his wing in WCW. So we spent a lot of time with Barry. But yeah, I remember them boys when they were little. But yeah, there's some new meat coming in. I think it'll do good. I don't know. Let me think on that.
All right, yeah. But yeah, the thing about Bray, yeah, he was one great wrestler, and definitely the wrestling family history background that he has makes it
Yeah,
even better, you know.
yeah.
Who were your wrestling trainers?
Uh, George South and Italian Stallions who trained me. Uh, and then they started taking me to Atlanta to do TVs, and then it just sort of took off from there.
Yeah. Was there anybody specifically that inspired you family wise to get into the business?
Mm. You mean my family pushed me to get into the business?
Yeah.
Oh man, my grandfather is the one that got me into wrestling. So, uh, plus wrestling in high school, and just always liking it and being around it. It was pretty much up to me. I mean, of course, I had the support after I started, which was good.
Yep. Who would you say has been the stiffest wrestler you've gone in the ring with in your career?
Oh, there's a few. Of course, that's the way I was trained, by working with Stal, Italian Stallion every night. You just learned that way. But I liked it stiff. I just seen somebody had sent me a match between me and Bret Hart the other day, and just everybody said that Bret would lay them. They called them rubber mallets. But I loved working with Bret. Bradshaw, of course, was heavy and aggressive. So, but I like it. And Vader, I'd give it
Oh yeah.
right back to him. So yeah, there was a lot of few stiffies, but I liked it that way. I like it snug.
Yeah. I heard Vader was more of like dangerous in the ring, definitely to some of
Very,
his
very.
opponents.
He broke a kid's back in WCW when we were there
Wow.
doing the power slam.
Yeah. Were you ever in like school or amateur wrestling as a kid?
Uh, yeah, I started my freshman year. in Virginia. I was living in Virginia at the time, Northern Virginia. And my junior year, I placed 10th in the state of Virginia at heavyweight. And then we moved my senior year back home to West Virginia. And my little school, single A school down here, didn't even have a wrestling program. They didn't even know there was wrestling in high school. So I missed out my
Oh,
senior
geez.
year. But yeah, I loved wrestling in high school because, you're wrestling for the team representing, but you're one on one with one other individual. So it's all right there on the mat.
Yep. What would you consider to be a weakness and then a strength in wrestling?
Mm. What do I think a strength and a weakness is?
Yep.
Man, good question, but a weakness is the road and not staying focused. That can be a weakness.
Yeah.
Um, I think your strength is staying positive, trying to eat right, trying to be good on the road, and getting your workouts in and staying positive and focused, open to
Yep.
suggestions.
hmm And then my next question was actually going to be was it hard traveling from show to show, and what was the worst thing about traveling?
Uh, the airports for me. Once we got to where we're going and we could get a rental car, I felt more at ease just going through the airports. I mean, of course, it was before 9/11, and we goofed off a lot on the planes. Stuff we did on the planes back then, man, you'd be thrown in federal prison now. But the yeah, that was the hardest part, just hauling luggage around and going through the airports and trying to sleep. But we did a lot of driving. Um, I don't know, you just get immune to it. It's like in your blood, and we did a lot of traveling on no sleep sometimes. So it just amazes me that how we did it, survived.
Yeah.
But
Drink all them energy drinks.
yeah, but on the other hand, we didn't have these things. We didn't have computers on the road, and I think there towards the end we had pagers. So that's as bad as bold as we got with pagers. And Godfather used to get us in from Las Vegas.
Yeah. Who was your first opponent in front of a crowd, and how did you go? How did you feel going into that first match?
Oh my God. My first TV match, I'm pretty sure, was PN News in WCW. And it was it was pretty nerve wracking the first time. Even the first few times just being an extra, on WCW was pretty nerve wracking. But um, I don't know. You get once you get comfortable, it sort of all falls into place. And yeah, it was nerve wracking, but it turned out good. I enjoyed it.
hmm what outcome did you expect to see from the crowd in your first match, which was against PN News?
He was just starting. Had just, I think, signed his contract not too long after that. or no, before that. And I mean, I was nervous, and of course, people booed me. So I mean, it's all part of the show. It just it was a little. I was nervous though, being that first time going
Yeah.
out there and knowing you're going to be on TV and people back home watching. But yeah, I always felt comfortable after that. Just it was good.
Hmm. If you could go back in time and wrestle anyone who has passed away, who would that be?
Mm. Oh my God! Of course, I would love to got to wrestle Dusty. Would probably be. Uh, oh, Macho Man. God, I would have loved to have really had a good match with Shawn Michaels. I got to wrestle Kevin a few times. Which, that was other big man stuff. That was good. Kevin Nash.
Mm,
Yeah, there was a lot I wish I could have had a run with.
yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of guys in there that would have been good feuds with just you or definitely the Godwins. Like I
Yeah,
would have definitely loved to seen a feud with the Men on a Mission and the Godwins.
yeah, that would have been good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have been real good because
Hmm.
I had worked with them when I first started back with George South and Italian Stallion. They had come and worked for them for a little while, so I knew them for 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who is or like was your top dream opponent of all time?
Oh, I did get. I wish I could have had some kind of crazy match with Undertaker. Um, I got to work him on Raw when I first started up in WWF, and we had a hell of a match. Matter of fact, I watched it about a month ago, and yeah, that would have been to do some kind of cool match with him. Um, Sting would have been good. I mean, I know Sting since WCW days. We used to work out at his gym, and him and Lex had a gym in Marietta called Main
Oh,
Event. We used to live outside it, so we always worked out there. But yeah, there was a lot of guys.
yep. Probably could make like a whole list of wrestlers.
Oh yeah.
Who would you top as your three top favorite wrestlers in your career that you got to wrestle?
Well, me and Hunter Triple H, we had good chemistry. I mean, we were married to each other for 6 months, and which led up to the hog pen match. But I always felt safe and comfortable with Hunter. Um, a dream match, like I said, would have been Taker. Um, God, can you imagine working like back in the Omni against Dusty Rhodes? Holy,
Yeah.
that would even Flair. We've had tag matches with Flair when he first came back in WCW. It was him and I think Paul Romo was his partner, and Arn against me, uh, Tex, and Dirty Dick Slater.
Mm. Do you usually get along or become friends with most of your opponents?
Yeah, we got on with everybody. We might not like what some people did or the way some people acted, but me and Phineas were like social butterflies. We got along, respected everybody. So yeah, we got along with everybody.
Yeah. If you could make a Survivor Series match, including you with 4 current wrestlers from any era who are still alive, from any company, who would that be?
Uh, I would like to work with AJ Styles. Um, oh man, Taker would be on there. I always wanted to work with Sting. You know, I think I worked him once a TV match in WCW, but I was still just going down as myself. And I don't know. There's so many people. Wow. Austin, Stone Cold.
Yeah.
I loved working Owen and British Bulldog. We had some good tag matches against them. I mean, there's a lot. It's hard to just say 2 or 3 or 4.
Yeah. Would you rather be in a street fight or a death match?
I like the street fights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The
And I've
hardcore
seen
one.
that. Go ahead.
As I was saying, like those hardcore matches, man, some of them were crazy.
Mm, definitely how they do them nowadays.
Yeah.
And I seen that you were part of some street fights in your WCW, WWF career too.
Yeah, we had what we did have a lot of in WWF were the strap matches, those leather strap matches. We did a few of them. Oh, yeah, I guess one of the craziest matches we had up there was in Minneapolis at the Road Warriors hometown. And I forget the name. We had them. It was a house show, but that was a pretty good match with them.
Yeah. Would you rather be in a blindfolded match, handcuffed to your opponent, or a dog collar?
Maybe a dog collar with the chain. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that'd be interesting to see you do that type of match.
Yeah, that'd be a little interesting.
Hmm. Is there any piece of merch that you have or had that was sold out pretty quickly?
Oh, well, they just come up. We just got our new dolls out 3 months ago, I think. Um, I have the BSK edition.
Oh, wow.
That's Sabio, Godfather, me, and Phineas.
Those are sweet. Yeah.
That up there on the wall. Can you see that?
Kind of. Yeah.
That's that's my WrestleMania 13 shirt that Vince gave us. He gave us all one. Um,
Wow.
I got the boots I wore my whole career is Henry Godwinn. I got them in '94, and I still got them. Hunter was supposed to sign one last year, and I was going to sign the other one because I want to put them in a big shadow box and put a picture of us in the hog pen match behind it. So I'll be up
Dang,
there
that
this
would be
year.
really good.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get him to sign one. I'm going to sign the other one and then put them in a shadow box. And then I'm taking a shirt too that some of the BSK members have signed. I've signed it, and Godfather and Phineas. I got to get Rikishi, Savio, and Taker. Hopefully, I can do that at WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah.
But I keep some of my merch. I can't let some of it go. I did just sell my Shanghai boots 3 months ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
You still have your ring worn overalls and stuff that you used to wear?
I sold them to a guy in New York that we from Think Ink Signatures, Nick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he bought overalls and he's bought a couple things.
Yeah.
I think I got one pair left.
I know you worn some at the Thunderdome when you returned for the Undertaker's final farewell.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, I think I have a pair that I wore in the ring. Maybe I may have that may have been my last pair, but I do have the ones from that night because Vince bought us those. We were bought nice clothes, dark clothes to wear for Taker to represent him. When we got down there about 3 hours before we go live, um, one of the suits walk in as one of Vince's guys and says, "Hey, Vince wants you to wear your overalls. Did you bring your gear?" I said, "Hell no, we didn't bring no overalls." So they send people to get runners to go out to find us overalls in Miami on a Sunday evening. But yeah, I do have that pair left. And the last pair we wore at Undertaker's gathering that night.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that was your like last WWE appearance since now, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I did go in November. I drove up to Pittsburgh because Undertaker was doing one of the Dead Man shows, the one Dead Man shows. So I had called him and told him I was coming. So we got up there. He got his VIP tickets, and the show started. And he come out. You know, it was dark, and he knew where I was sitting. He kept walking by and looking at me and didn't say anything. He's talking to the crowd. So like 10 minutes goes by, and he goes, "Okay, I can't take it no longer." So he said, "There's a BSK member and one of my dear friends here, Henry O. Godwinn." So he pulled me up on stage and we told old stories for about 30 minutes. But it was a great show. Then I went back down and got in my seat, enjoyed another hour and a half of show. It was good. Good time.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Is there any time a fan has seen you in public and got like super surprised and or excited?
Uh, yeah, back in the day, I always enjoyed it. I mean, just to bring a smile to somebody's face, you know? So always enjoyed that and always made time. We always made time for the fans and after a show or something. But that's just how we were.
Yeah. Who is your favorite horror character and favorite horror movie if you have one?
Uh, it's got to be the Friday the 13th. And of course, The Exorcist, the original Exorcist, one of my favorites still.
Mm, yeah. I really like Chucky.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. They just don't make horror films like they used to. You had Halloween and Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, there's nothing better than the originals, really.
Yeah.
What is generally your favorite music to listen to in your spare time?
Oh, I listen to a lot of Southern rock, but I guess my top rock band would be Led Zeppelin. I'm an old '70s rock, uh, Aerosmith, Bad Company, Skinner, Molly Hatchet, the Allman Brothers, the good stuff, man. A lot of Kiss, Bad Company,
Oh, okay.
love Kiss. I was in Kiss Army at
That's
years old, so there you go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's my favorite band.
Yeah, yeah. My my boys, both of them. That was still probably Shane's favorite. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I got to see them on their final farewell tour that they just did in 2023. So,
We seen them in Knoxville, Tennessee, when I was living in Pigeon Forge. Of course, I lost my youngest son, Jordan, down there. But a few months after that, some of our friends had got us tickets, good seats on the floor in Knoxville for Aerosmith opening up for Kiss.
wow.
Uh, that was definitely on my bucket list, and knocked them both out the same night. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really big to get both of them at the same concert.
Yeah, my overseas experience with a rock band. We were in Germany, and God, it was a long tour. It was, I think, it may have been that longest one we were on. It was like 14 nights. Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top. We met him. He come to one of the shows. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, wow. So, if a movie was made about your career, who would you want to play you?
Oh my God. Hmm. What's the Jason Momoa? How about that? The Aquaman guy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he could probably. If you got to choose the stipulation for your match, what stipulation would you choose?
Uh, Count anywhere, anything goes.
Yeah.
Go old school, man.
Yep. This I think they still do the false count anywhere matches still to this day.
Yeah, I did a lot of them in the PWF when I was with George South and Italian Stallion. And those were rough matches, working style on the floor and up in the audience and bleachers and chairs and trash cans. Woo!
Yeah. It's kind of like a street fight. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
what has been the funniest thing a fan has said to you before?
Oh my God. Hmm. Damn, there's a lot. I just can't think. Well, one thing we always thought was funny after Phineas come up to WWF and we formed the Godwinns, there. we started getting mail from these Godwinn families saying that they were inviting us to come to the family reunions, the Godwinn family reunions.
Oh.
So we always thought that was fun. They would send them to the office. I mean, the office would say, "Hey, you got some mail. These people want you to come out west to the Godwinn's reunion."
Did you ever go?
No, if we would have had time or we had been in the right place, we would have went. And one of the funnest things we ever did when Hillbilly Jim was our manager, um, we were wrestling it was in Canada. I forget where, but these kids had won this thing where uh, like they were doing tag teams and we got picked. So it was me and Hillbilly and Phineas go to these kids' house, but they're like in their 20s and they're having this big pre-party before the pay-per-view. And so Hillbilly's playing the guitar and they're all passing joints around and there's a guy from the office with us and we're trying not to let him see us hit the joint. But I mean, it turned into a big party and there was like 50 young people there just having a good time. And to look over and see Hillbilly jamming out on an electric guitar. I mean, it was an awesome night. It was good.
Yeah. Somebody wants me to ask, who was the biggest drinker out of BSK?
Wow. We could all hold our own. I'd say probably the most aggressive drinker would be Phineas. Some of us just held it better, and me and Phineas seemed to be on the lower end of that, where the other BSK members had to help us to bed quite a few times. But Yoko could slam. I did a podcast about a month ago and told this guy this story. We were in Germany and we had wrestled, had a big, I think it was Berlin. It was a big show. And we got the bus back to the hotel and, everybody gets cleaned up and we go down and eat and then go to the bar. Of course, everybody knew where we were staying. So the bars were always just crowded. So we'd all start mingling and show get a table where our backs are to the wall. And Yoko would come down. He would go to the bar, and over there, a bottle of Jack, even back then, was $70 for just a fifth of Jack Daniels. But he would buy a fifth and bring it over to the table. He would take the cap off and he'd throw the cap away. So that meant that nobody was leaving until the whole bottle was gone. But then the bad thing about that, Taker would go buy one or he'd go buy another one. So now you got 2 or 3 bottles of Jack floating around between 5 or 6 people. But yeah, there was some good times.
Yeah. What would you say has been a best fan compliment you've received either at like a show or convention?
Well, what's his name? How do you pronounce Rayback?
Oh, Ryback?
Ryback, yeah. Great guy. My son was in training with him in Florida, and I know him pretty good. He was asked a few months ago who the nicest wrestler he ever met, and he said me, Henry Godwinn. So that made me feel real good. But he's a good guy. I like Ryback.
Yeah. He's a cool guy.
Just a lot of the fans, say, hey, they'll bring me stuff that I signed a long time ago. I'm waiting for the guy to show up at one of these signings the night we won the belts off of Sonny and the Body Donnas in Madison Square Garden. I threw my John Deere hat out in the crowd that night. And, I didn't think nothing of it. Well, we were up there like 6 months later in New York City doing a signing at a restaurant. And the guy comes through with my hat, and I signed it for him at about 6 months after he'd snatched it in the crowd. And I knew it was
Wow.
mine. I had wrote on the inside of it. And yeah, just people say, "Hey, I appreciate you, signing my shirt or signing my picture," and they'll say, and then I'll see people like young kids. They'll come in. They were young kids then, but they're grown up now, so they come in and say, "Hey, you remember this?" And it was, like 20 years ago. But yeah,
Yeah.
I love the fan interaction and seeing all the. I get a lot of pictures I've never seen before sent to me by fans, so that's pretty cool too. I like coming across new photos.
Yeah. What about which wrestler has given you the best advice and or compliment other than Ryback?
Uh, I guess in the early days, I mean, Arn Anderson was always good to us, and like seemed like he had our best interest, when he talked to us, and he's the one actually that said we should leave WCW and go up north.
Mm.
Uh, Buff Bagwell, and Scorpio, we had a thing with them for a while in WCW, and we actually worked them at the Beach Blast in the early '90s. But yeah, just hearing, thanks for having a hell of a match, or thanks for taking care of me in the ring. Just little things from the boys too. Always meant a lot. And then I always tried to give it back. Respect demands respect. So
Yep. Was there ever a time you ever got kicked out of a wrestling show you were wrestling at?
oh, that I was wrestling at,
Yeah.
no, but the closest thing, uh, the night we lost the belts back to the Road Warriors, and Uncle Cletus was managing us, Dirty White Boy, or T.L. Hopper.
Oh yeah.
He was managing us at the time as Uncle Cletus, and we about started a riot that night. And we had the Confederate flag. Of course, they told we carried it. I know you couldn't carry it today because people are so butthurt and offended, but um, we that's the closest we almost come to having a riot, and we all had to sneak out of the arena, and the police were looking for us, and the fans were ready to kill us. That was probably one of the scariest times.
Wow. Yeah. Was there any time in your career or any time you have witnessed or personally have this happen that a crowd member has come out of the crowd and like attacked you or
Oh yeah,
witnessed it?
yeah. Unfortunately, we had a couple cases pending on us, but they finally smoothed it over because, yeah. Matter of fact, back to the strap matches, we were in Worcester, Mass. One night working the Harris twins, and we were having a strap match that night. On the way back to the crowd, through the crowd back to the locker room, a guy grabbed Phineas's strap and pulled him and swung on him. Didn't hit him, but I just out of reflex, I hit him with the strap. That guy, So I don't know. They finally smoothed it over, but yeah, we had a couple things. We snatched somebody out of the crowd one time. That was in Chicago, and he spit in my face, and I reached over and grabbed him and pulled him over. And our security up there were off-duty cops and off-duty firefighters. And in Chicago back then, they took no shit. They beat the brakes off this kid. He wasn't a kid; he was a young man, but he found out he shouldn't spit and get involved in what's going on the other side of that fence. So yeah, that we've had some crazy times with fans. I've been hit with stuff too, ice and pennies and coins, just whatever. But it's all good. I don't care.
Yeah.
The spit gets me though. I don't like the spit.
Yeah. Stuff that goes over the walls of that, like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
What has been your most favorite wrestling company you've got to wrestle for in your career?
It's got to be WWF and WWE. I mean, WCW was the first big company that give us a contract, but uh, I just felt like we weren't getting used right there. And even Arn Anderson told us that. That's why he said, y'all need to go up north. Um, it was a good time. It was a learning experience for, we were under contract 2 years there, and then we got let go. Matter of fact, me and Hunter and Phineas all got let go down there at the same time. And
Oh wow, really?
yeah, but it was a blessing, because of course I went up to WWF by myself. Tex was had to work some stuff out, and then he come up about a year after that. But yeah, it was so much more. It was like flicking a switch going from WCW, and just within 2 months I was signed. I think it was about 6 weeks had signed with WWF, and I flew up and met with Vince and JJ Dillon, and but I just felt like I had so much more of an opportunity up there. The boys were younger and eager, and everybody got along, and there was, and that's one thing. Like the BSK, we always tried to help each other, and we were a pretty diverse group. I mean, that was a plus for us because we all got along. Nobody ever argued. We didn't have any bad words for each other, and it was more like a brotherhood. And but you had hillbillies and rednecks and blacks and whites and Samoans and Asians and Puerto Ricans, Savio. So it was one big culture stew. But we were tight, and I still like to think we're pretty.
Yeah. If you could remind and tell everyone who is all part of the BSK.
Well, um, it started out with Yoko, Taker, me, Rikishi, Savio, and Godfather, and then Paul Bear, and uh, I think Crush was like an honorary member. He never hung out with us that much, and Mr. Fuji was an honorary
Yeah.
member. Phineas come up, and he fit right in. So that's the crew: Godfather, Taker, Savio, Yoko, me, Phineas, Paul Bear, Crush, and Fuji.
And when is the last time all of them that are still around today, got like in a reunitation?
That was we hadn't. I mean, I'd seen them since I broke my neck and left the company. I had seen him like '06, '07 was the last time I think we were all together.
Mm.
But it had been 20 years since we had all been together at one time. Phineas wasn't there in '06. So it had been 20 years since we had all been together at one time. And it was in Dallas at WrestleMania when Undertaker, I think it was like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Time goes by so quick. But
Yeah.
yeah, and that was a rough night. We um, drank 5 bottles of Jack Daniels, all of us together, and like 70 some beer. They told us the next day at the bar. So we made up for 20 years in one night, and that was we had to be put to bed that night. So Taker and Godfather put us to bed. But yeah, I'm hoping we can do it again here pretty soon. It'd be nice for all of us to get together.
Yeah, I'd love to see a reunion too.
We are supposed to be doing a signing. I think it's in August in Baton Rouge, and it's going to be a BSK roundtable. It'll be myself, Savio, Phineas, um, Godfather, and Rikishi. And that'll be in
Mm.
Baton Rouge this year. So it's going to be a BSK roundtable. So I'm excited about
Sweet.
that.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, reunion is going to be coming up soon.
Yeah. I'll send you when I find out for sure, I'll send you the date and stuff.
All right, yeah, for sure. And what about the Godwins? When was the last time all three of you reunited? Because I know Hillbilly Jim doesn't do much stuff.
He doesn't do much stuff, but the guy I did the podcast for last month, um, somebody had got a hold of me and said they were going. Hillbilly was going to do a little signing up by his house in Kentucky. I said, if you see him, when you see him, physically give him my number and tell him to call me that I want to talk to him because we haven't seen or talked to each other in God 12 years maybe.
Oh, wow.
So he called me and we talked for about 45 minutes. He does the Cyrus XM radio, he does the Outlaw channel. Henry, I've already pre recorded 3 weeks, but when I go back in the studio, this is going to be on my topic list. He says, I'm going to talk about me and you having this talk. So we are in the makes of hoping to get him out on the road at least one time to do a
Oh,
triple with the Godwins and Hillbilly Jim. So I'm hoping he'll do at least one with us. He said he would probably. So
man, that would be awesome. I think that'd get the fans a lot, like,
yeah,
excited.
yeah, yeah. It'd really be cool to reunite and at least do it one more time somewhere.
For sure. So, would you rather join DX, NWO, APA, or BWO?
To be honest, I would have loved to have been in DX because that was my era. I mean, that was yeah, I would have loved to have been a part of that. That's who I'd have picked.
Yeah. And I think the Godwins could have fit in there perfectly, actually.
Yeah, or maybe Southern Justice would have been better in DX.
Yeah, that too. Yep.
Yeah.
If you could have any band or singer perform your theme song, who would you want that to be?
Oh, I would have loved for Charlie Daniels to do that part of it. Um, man, if 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 we ever had to have a song done, there's a new artist. He's in Nashville. He signed with Colt Ford at Average Joe Entertainments, but his name's Brian Martin. I've met him, went to his concert, and become friends with him. But you need to Google him sometime and listen to him some of his stuff. One of the name of his songs. Can you see this? FAFO.
Kind of.
It's FAFO, and
Oh,
he
okay.
sings. Yeah, but yeah, Brian Martin, good upcoming guy. I like him.
Yeah, I'll have to check him out too. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could take any signature move from any other wrestler to do, what signature move would that be?
I'm old school. I'm already thinking of stingers, and I always love the figure four leg lock. I
Yeah.
always love.
What would you say has been the hardest move you've personally have tried to do to an opponent before?
Oh, I remember way back when doing sunset flips and being able to do that kind of stuff. I do remember that, and taking backdrops and doing drop kicks. Of course, that got out of my repertoire quick when I become a hillbilly and Henry Godwinn. We weren't supposed to know what drop kicks were.
Oh. What usually got you hyped for a match that you were going to be in?
What's that?
What usually got you hyped for a match that you were going to be in?
Oh, a lot of it depended on who I was working with. You know how we connected. Like for instance, me and Hunter. Just I was always looking forward to working Hunter when we were, because I'm telling you, for like 6 months, he got slopped every night. I was telling this to somebody. We used to have to wash our gear out every night and just let it dry in the hotel room or going down the road or something, because I mean he got slopped every night, and I tried not to make him too sloppy on him, but and still get the good effect of the slop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that would suck for Triple H. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I gotta tip my hat. He was a damn trooper. We did that every night.
hmm
Then the hog pen match when he, had the stitches in his back and got hog shit and mud all in his back. We were afraid he was going to get staph, but he pulled through. We made it. Made history that match.
So there was actually it was actually an actual hog pen, so it was actually had like pig poop and everything in it.
Yeah, they had a farmer had brought them in, and they were in there for God all day, like 6 hours, just walking around using the bathroom, and then me and Hunter ended up in it. So yeah, that was probably one of my favorite matches.
Yeah, I mean, you were used to it, so I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
What was your favorite thing to do after all your matches?
take a shower, and start drinking, hanging out with the boys.
Yeah. You went out into like party and stuff with your friends and stuff after?
Well, if you're talking like on the road, of course it would have been the BSK. Were we always went out together.
Yeah.
And I did hang out with. We went out with the clique a few times, and I've been friends with Kevin Nash since God back in the early '90s, and so yeah, everybody always thought the clique and the BSK never got along, but we were all friends. There was never no heat there between anybody.
Yeah. What has been your most favorite venue you have got to wrestle at in your career?
Oh, I did like the Garden just for the atmosphere and the feel. Um, when we did the San Antonio Dome, I can't remember what year it was, but there was like 166 or 67,000 people in there. And I remember watching it from behind the curtain, and man, everybody looked this big because it was so far to the ring. But that was probably my two of my good ones. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely Madison Square Garden, because when you can say you've wrestled there, I mean, that's something that's the biggest stadium out there. So, I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I've actually wrestled there probably 10 times. And then 10 times was one time that's where we won the tag belts for the very first time.
wow. Has there been any time you have accidentally broken out of your wrestling persona?
Uh, what do you mean? Like, just, what do you mean?
Like, have you ever like laughed or like messed up like a line or said
Oh, yeah.
something?
Yeah. Me and Phineas always went out of character. We were just goofy guys, man. We just tried to enjoy it and build friendships at the same time. So I mean, it was a great experience. But yeah, we all get out of character sometimes, especially behind the scenes.
Yeah. Have you ever gotten embarrassed in a wrestling match due to like a mistake or something?
Uh, no, I do know one of the funniest times on live TV was I can't remember who we were working. Maybe the Headbangers or Marty Jannetty and Al Snow. I can't remember, but it was a Monday Night Raw, and we had I think a dog and a goat. They wanted us to take to the ring, and Hillbilly Jim was with us. So we get the dog and the goat in the ring, and we're dancing around. They're playing our music. Hillbilly Jim's all happy, and all of a sudden, this just squats and takes a big dump on TV. So, I mean, everybody sees it, and Hillbilly's laughing and trying not to. Texas trying, but whoever we're working, they're loving it. So I take my boot and I go to kick it. out of the ring, and it sort of smears on the apron. So, so all the boys were ribbing us, saying, "Don't bring no more damn farm animals to the ring." But yeah, that was probably one of the funniest times.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
What about like the pigs? Then you after that you kept bringing animals, I'm guessing still.
Yeah, we had brought a pig to the ring, and I think one got loose, and so we didn't want to do that anymore. And um, but yeah, we would do like our interviews with Hillbilly. We would have little pigs. We'd be holding them, and oh my god, we used to try to get them to bite on Hillbilly. We used to pick on Hillbilly a lot during the interviews back in there. And Dusty was the ones doing our interviews with us, so it was even that much funner, you know.
Yeah. What would you say has been the scariest slash most dangerous incident in your wrestling career?
Um, I would have to say when Doink knocked my teeth out in California, and then of course when I broke my neck in Binghamton, New York against Hawk and Animal, that was
Mm,
probably the scariest time.
yeah. Then what about what has been the worst you've gotten injured in a match?
That would be the Road Warriors, the Doomsday Device. When I told them I didn't feel comfortable doing it, um, and sure enough, we did it, and I broke my neck that night in against the Road Warriors. It was probably the scariest because I actually got up and walked to the back, and they told me to lay down on a cold concrete floor, and then the ambulance took me to the hospital, and they had they had me in a collar and everything on the way to the hospital, and I had an MRI done. They said I'd cracked my C7. So, but the
Mm,
funny thing is, I was supposed to go home and take 14 weeks off and go have another MRI. But I went home, and in 6.5 weeks, I was back on the road wrestling again. So
oh
Vince
wow.
had a trainer with me for about 6 or 7 weeks, working on me. I was trying to work through the pain, and but he got when we were doing Southern Justice. I mean, that whole time I was had a broken neck, and yeah, that was scary. And we were supposed to win the belts from Road Dogg and Badass Billy Gunn in September of '97. We were supposed to win the belts again as Southern Justice for the third time, for the first time as Southern Justice, but the third time for us having the belts. And we decided I need to go home and get my neck checked, and so I had to have a spinal fusion. Me and Stone Cold had the same spinal fusion done pretty close together.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
If back in the day you got told you couldn't medically wrestle for the rest of your life, what would you do?
What would I do as an occupation? Oh, I would just do what I'm doing now, live in the mountains, got a little farm, I'm my own boss, raise what I want to raise, be self sufficient. I have no problem with that.
Yeah. And you still raise baby pigs to this day and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. I just sold the last two hogs I had a few months ago and getting ready to get back into it in the spring.
Yeah, nice. So your persona was based off of your real life.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like second nature, so it was easy for me to step into that. I'd been around them my whole life. Cows, hogs, chickens. I've been around horses. Been around it all.
Yep. What is the longest you would say you've had to stay out of action for wrestling?
Uh, that was the longest. Because I wrestled the next night when I had my teeth knocked out in California. I was working Doink, and it was the first night of a 4-day tour in California. And I went to put the slop drop on him, and he turned. And when we hit where he turned and pulled us together, and he got 7 stitches right there, and he knocked my teeth out that night. So that was a bad one.
Yeah, wow. And was this the original Doink, Matt Bourne?
No, the one after that. Damn, I can't think of his name.
Ray Apollo?
Yeah, I was just with him too last year in Charlotte. I hadn't seen him in years.
What was he like when you met again after all of that?
Oh yeah, he's fine. He's doing good, and I had seen Barbarian down there, the Headbangers. There was a bunch of people down there. It was WrestleCade, I think.
Oh,
Good
okay.
signing. I like that. I like that when it's only like a little under 3 hours from here for a drive. So I just drive down for that.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah,
Definitely for one of the biggest signings out there. So, yeah.
yeah.
What are some of the wrestling championships and achievements you have won so far in your career?
Oh, won the heavyweight PWF. That was the little federation I started with George South and Italian Stallion, and then we won the WWF tag belts twice, and that's been it.
Yeah. So, who are 5 wrestlers you would put into the WWE Hall of Fame that are not in there yet that you think deserve it?
Oh man. Mankind's already in there.
No, he's not actually.
I would put Mankind. Um, damn. Uh, I don't know. Wow. Uh, a lot of guys are in there, and I can't keep up with it. Who's in there and who's not? I put Sabio in there.
Yeah.
Um, man, I don't know. That's a good question. Is badass Billy Gunn in there?
Not by himself, but he's in there with DX.
Right. They were fun to work with. The Smoking Guns. We had good matches with them. Yeah, I don't know. That's a toughie. That's something I'd have to get the wheels turning and think about.
Yeah. Do you
Edge and Chris
feel. Oh,
is
sorry.
Edge
Go
and Chris,
ahead.
Is Edge and Christian both in there?
Um, I'm not sure if they are as a tag team, but I think they are separately.
Are they separate? That would have been the other two. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like the Godwins as a trio faction should definitely be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, that would be awesome, man. I would
Mm.
definitely be honored to do that, but I'm not going to be disappointed if I'm not, because I feel like we had a hell of a career and we've made good friends and we won the belts twice and we were in a good era of wrestling, I think, and sports entertainment. And so if it happens, it's just the added bonus. I feel like my career would have been better if I wouldn't have broke my neck, of course, but I'm satisfied for what we've accomplished.
Yeah. I mean, Hillbilly Jim is in the Hall of Fame, so if he's in there, I feel like all three of you should definitely be in there, you know?
That would be nice. I would like for him to sort of give us away, be there to introduct, inter, induct us into the Hall of Fame. That would be nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be great. A Hall of Famer inducting a new Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
What are 4 words you would describe your wrestling persona?
uh, Funny, uh, aggressive sometimes. Uh, I've been told I've been one of the powerful wrestlers and athletic, so I will take that.
Yeah, definitely. What are 3 things that annoy you the most in wrestling?
Um, Lazy, negative people that bring other people down. Um, uh, just not being true to yourself and to the locker room. I just think your success depends on how you treat other people and just how you react to certain situations. If that makes sense.
Yeah. What are 3 things that you like the most about wrestling?
Oh my God, that's the camaraderie of the boys, which I know it's not like it was back then. Now it's a lot different because there's so much social media. Everybody's being watched, and back then, all we had was each other. We were with each other more than we were with our families. We were always traveling, so that's why I tried to surround myself with good people, and I think the whole crew was good. It's just some of us hung out more, like the BSK. We hung out all the time. I was used to go to Yoko's house when I was out on the West Coast, and instead of flying all the way home and just having one day at home, I would stay at Yoko's house, and Akishi would come over, and then when Tex got on, we would both stay in Yoko's house. But I think building relationships like that, because we sort of helped each other with, if we had questions or somebody had suggestions or corrective criticism, that was, that's part of learning, and I thought that was important. I like the traveling. I like the places we went. We went. My last overseas tour was in Kuwait City in
Oh,
'98. So we Germany, England. We had that AIDS tour. We raised money for AIDS in India, um, Vienna, Austria. I got to go to some cool places. So South Africa was awesome.
wow. Yeah, now it seems like WWE's bringing more events and pay-per-views to overseas shows now, like Germany, France. They're seeming to bring them, and others.
Yeah, we did a pay per view in England 1 year. I think it was '97. We did one over there.
Yeah, because they just did one in Scotland uh, recently. I think
Yeah,
last year. I'm pretty sure.
that's my bucket list to go there.
Yeah. If you are upset or anxious during or before a match, what do you do to help yourself calm down?
Back then, probably take a couple hits off a joint.
Yeah.
That helped a lot of the boys.
If you could wrestle anywhere in the world, where would that be?
Mm, wow. Ah, I would like to do one match in Japan,
Mm.
a big show in Japan.
Yeah, that'd be good. I mean, that's a lot of wrestlers' dreams is to wrestle in Japan. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Have you ever wrestled or done anything in Wisconsin before?
Oh yeah. We wrestled at Madison at the college.
Oh,
Yeah, I liked it up there.
yeah.
Eat some good damn cheese too.
Yep. I love the cheese down here. I love cheese just in general.
No, yeah. Now where are you at? Where are you at?
I live in Peshtigo, 45 minutes away from Green Bay.
Green Bay. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I always enjoyed it up there.
Yeah.
Green Bay was a big town to wrestle in.
Yeah. Because scrolling through some of your matches, I've seen that you wrestled like 3 days in a row in Wisconsin. One was La Crosse, Madison, and Milwaukee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I could even tell you who I rode with on most of that on that tour.
Okay,
Medusa.
who?
Medusa.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah. And I will see her at WrestleCon or WrestleMania. She'll be at WrestleCon.
Yeah. And she'll probably be at WrestleMania to induct Bull Nakano.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Hmm.
probably so.
Will you be at WrestleMania this year in like the seats up on the stage for Hall of Fame?
No, I'll be in. If I'm there, I'll be in the background watching, hiding.
What would you say has been the best fan art you have received in your wrestling career?
Oh my God. Uh, I've had a couple pretty cool drawings, but I think this is probably the coolest thing I've seen. Two of these. Godfather sent me this. Can you see this?
Oh, wow.
It's an animated picture of the BSK. It's Godfather, Yoko, Taker, Phineas, me, Crush, and Savio.
Wow,
And then
that's nice.
this, uh, Nick from Captain's Corner.
Oh, yep.
His artist did this. This is Phineas on this side and me on this side.
Wow.
That's some of the
That's
coolest.
sweet.
Yeah, that's some of the coolest stuff I've seen.
Yeah, I know I've seen the Nasty Boys one of the half-faced of from Captain Corners, but I don't think I've seen the Godwinns one before. Yeah, his artwork from Captain's Corner is awesome of the
Yeah,
tag teams.
we were with him last year up in around Jersey and New York, and we had like three or four different signings he had set up, which was pretty cool because uh, Thunder Rosa and Tony Schiavone were there with us. So it was cool seeing Tony because we've known him for 31 years.
Yeah, kind of like a reunitation with him too.
Yeah, yeah.
Which wrestler would you say has the best wrestling gear ever in your opinion?
Oh my God. Well, the props, if you're talking about props, the coolest was Vader's headgear.
Hmm.
Um, uh, I don't know. I just always thought Shawn Michaels had some cool gear.
Yeah, yeah. What is a number one top unforgettable moment in your wrestling career that you'll like never ever forget?
Oh God, there's so many. Of course, the winning the belts the first time in the Garden. Um, before Phineas come up, I was in Survivor Series with Undertaker, Rikishi, and Savio. And what people didn't realize, that was the whole BSK team right there, and that was way back early. Um, but that was a fun match with them guys. And of course, the hog pen match is probably
Yeah,
one of my all time. That's my all time probably favorite. That and winning the belts in the Garden stick out a lot.
yeah, for sure. I mean, just being in the Garden is something, but winning a title at the Garden is even bigger.
That was double bonus, man.
Yeah. What did your meal prep look like on a day of a wrestling show?
Oh, we ate anything and a lot. Man, I was 320, 325 wrestling back then, which now I'm 265. So, but no sense in carrying all that extra weight around if you're not doing nothing with it.
Yeah. What is your go-to beverage most of the time to help keep you energized for like a wrestling event? Like now, I would say for conventions for you and of the sorts.
Oh man, I drink a lot of black tea with honey and lemon. Um, yeah, I'm not into the energy drinks, so I do organic protein powder. I'm Mr. Healthy now.
Yep. If you could or would get any tattoo to add to all your tattoos, what would that be and why?
Oh man, I don't know. I've all my tattoos. I've never went in and said, "Oh, I want that on the wall." All mine means something, and I've got uh, I've got my son that I lost. I got him tattooed over my heart right here. So that was the most important tattoo to me. And then my big back piece has BSK, and it's a biblical tattoo. Also, it's pretty cool. It's a whole back piece, but yeah, I've got everybody. I've got my son's names on me, and I've got everybody covered. I guess I ain't got much
Yeah.
more room. I'm running out of room.
Yeah. What is your favorite current and old wrestlers theme song from wrestling history?
Oh, the most goosebump music, make your hair stand up, is still uh, Stone Cold's and Taker's. I mean, when the lights go down and the dongs start with Taker, I mean, it's pretty amazing. It's impressive. And then Stone Cold with the glass breaking, and Hunter's had some good ring music.
Mm-hmm.
His heavy metal
Definitely.
stuff.
Yeah. And definitely when you hear the music now, the Undertaker or Stone Cold or Triple H or any of like the legends and Hall of Famers, when you hear the music now in the WWE, it's like something like wow, you know?
Yeah. Even hearing our song, what we come out to, what Hillbilly sang, what he come out to, the old Hillbilly music. I love hearing that. Yeah, I like the old stuff.
Yeah, because the surprising return for the Undertaker final farewell. I didn't know that that was going to happen, and I seen you guys come out, and I was shocked. I was so excited. It was amazing
Yeah,
to see you guys there.
it
You
was
know.
an awesome time.
Hmm. What is your least favorite theme song ever from wrestling history?
Uh, I don't know. Some of Hogan's music just did. I mean, I don't know. It just seemed like it could have been. I would have did something different for him. Uh, I don't know. That's something else I'd have to think about. Uh, Hunter's music used to have that old English, just that when we first started. Of course, then, yeah, I didn't like it. It sort of pissed me off. That got me going when his ring music started.
Yeah. If you could go back and revisit any year of your wrestling career, what year would that be?
Oh man, probably go back to '98, right before I broke my neck. It was some good things were getting ready to happen. Of course, Southern Justice was getting ready to be born, and that was going to be a good gimmick. I mean, we had so many plans for that, and we had some music lined up, and but injuries, can turn the tide quick.
Yeah, that sucks. If you could go back in time and tell your younger self something motivational towards being a wrestler, what would that be?
Oh, stay more focused, do better on the road, eat healthier, take care of yourself better. Um, I mean, I had good relationships with everybody, so none all that was great. It was just uh, at that time, a lot of us was getting caught up in that party and stuff. So sometimes we would neglect. I mean, I always went to the gym, but just seems like we would neglect some stuff that we should have stayed focused on. I would
Yeah,
change that.
yeah. If you came with a warning label, what would it say?
Uh, it would probably say, if the BSK had something to say about it, it would probably say, warning, lock up your daughters and moms. Undertaker and Yoko give me the name Hillbilly Lover. So, yeah, that's what my
Yeah.
warning would say.
If the WWE asked you now in your career to make an appearance such as like one last run, a Royal Rumble appearance, or like you what you did at for Undertaker, like a Legends Night or something, would you take up that offer?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure, because it gives me a chance to reflect and visit old friends. People don't realize when you're in this business as long as these guys have been in it, and I'm going on 31 years now. it's it's hard to come off the road and adjust to going back to just being a regular person where you got this alter ego. You can live through two people. You just have to maintain it and do it right. But yeah, it's hard to just lay everything down and be done. I don't know. It's a crazy world. I liked it though. Just yeah, it's a good time of my life.
Yeah. Did you ever get asked to like be sign like a Legends contract with the WWE ever as the Godwins and like have your merch and figures or anything?
Not yet. We're hoping for that. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't see why they wouldn't. I mean, that would be awesome because they have the headbangers. They
Yeah,
have,
we're real close with the headbangers too. I talk to them guys all the time. Um, we had some good matches with them boys. Uh, but I'm happy for them. I'm glad they got that little deal worked out. Who knows? Maybe me and Phineas will get that.
yeah, because I think a lot of people and me have been waiting for wrestling figures of you guys. So, I mean, other than
Yeah,
the mini ones.
yeah, yeah. That's I did get a box of those minis. Uh, have you seen them?
Yeah, I think I've seen the posts about it actually, and I've seen what they look like, kind of.
I mean, they're They're pretty nice. Nice packaging.
Yeah, those are sweet.
Yeah. So
Wow, yeah.
they're pretty nice. And I got him to send me one of Godfather and Savio and Phineas so I could put it all in that one case I showed you.
Yeah. What would you say is your favorite wrestling quote?
Wrestling quote?
Yeah.
Oh. Two that stand out would probably be Rest in Peace in Undertaker's voice.
Yeah.
And Austin 316 because Stone Cold said so.
Yeah, those two are awesome.
Yeah.
If you could manage any wrestler right now, who would you want to manage?
Oh. Wow. Wow, I don't know. Say there's no really hillbillies out there, is there?
Not really, actually. No, there's not.
Man, I don't know. I don't know.
I would say Cameron Grimes, I think he would fit a good hillbilly character if they changed his whole persona and put him
Yeah,
into a hillbilly character. He would fit
yeah.
perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they could bring you back as a manager.
There you go. Might even bring a slop bucket around.
Yep. And some baby pigs.
Yeah, goat or dog or something.
Yeah, bring the animals back because they haven't had animals in the WWE for quite some time.
That's right.
Who would you put in your Mount Rushmore of wrestlers?
Oh, Dusty for sure. Um, I'm going to say Dusty, Yoko, Taker, and Stone Cold.
Yeah. If you had one last retirement match, who would you want that to be against?
Oh, maybe Shawn Michaels. That would be fun. Or Hunter.
Yeah. Oh, dang, that would actually be really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then bring back the hog pen match for one last time in a retirement match.
One last time, me and Hunter in the hog pen match.
Yeah, for both of your guys' retirement matches.
Yeah.
So the pigs that you brought to the ring with you during WCW and WWF, where did you get those? Were they personally yours, or did you get them like rented or?
A farmer brought him that night for the hog pen match. He brought him in on a trailer, and then some just local farmers would bring like a goat or some baby pigs. We'd do videos with, and we took a lot of pictures with farm animals too. So yeah, that was fun though. I love animals like that. I love fooling with them.
Yeah. What is it like to know that you had the first and famous WWE Hogpin match against Hunter. And what was the whole match like for you as it being one of the first?
Well, Vince had told us, the concept and, what was going to be set up and how far it was the hog pen was going to be away from the ring. And he said, y'all just come up with what you can. But I think a lot of people thought it was just going to be a stupid ha-ha match. But to their surprise and Vince's surprise, when the match was over, Vince actually met both of us at the door and told us that was a hell of a match. And we did get that year, that match was up for the top match of the year at the Slammy Awards. So I knew we had done good. When Vince comes up and tells you that, and then when everybody else seemed to enjoy it, I knew we had done a good thing. Me and Hunter just went out there and come up with the whole thing, and thank God it worked out. And of course, Hillbilly was a part of it. That was his first night back, so he was a part of it too.
Yeah. So I'm gonna finish off the interview with like 3 or so more questions.
Okay.
Why was it that you took a long break from the WWF from 1998 to when you came back to the WWE for a little run in 2006? Was there any reason for that?
I had I broke my neck. I was dealing with all that. And then in 2003, I had lost my youngest son, Jordan. So I don't think really mentally and physically I was ready to come back at the time, which is, unfortunate, but, things happen. We just have to deal with them. But, years after that, I got into a much better place and I'm healthy. I'm in good shape. So feel better about it.
Yeah. What is one thing you would tell your wrestling fans?
Oh man. We had some good fans. In that era, the fans were awesome. Just thanks, and I hope we did you guys right. And I hope we come up in wrestling conversation sometimes, and it's a good thought. So thank you, and maybe see you again sometime. Do something else.
Yeah. And then for my final question, do you have any advice for me to become a wrestler?
Oh, it takes a lot of sacrifice and dedication and training and just being open minded and willing to step outside your comfort zone. Because I was real shy growing up, didn't have a lot of confidence. So it surprised me that I chose this as my career.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, and I appreciate you for taking your time out to do this interview. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on here.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to do it again sometime. Maybe we get Phineas on here.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
All right. Well, keep in touch, man. I'll try to get that date to you.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
All right. Hope you have a
All
good
right.
rest of your night, sir.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.